Hello, Bravo bosses. This is the Bravo Investigator Podcast. I'm your host, Dana. And today on our Monday Reality Roundup, we are talking about The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Love Island, and The Real Housewives of Miami. This episode is audio only, but you can watch the audio version on YouTube. Let's get into it. Happy Monday, everyone. I hope everyone had a great weekend. My apologies as per usual. I just wanted to apologize for getting this episode out a little late today. I typically record Monday Reality Roundups on Sundays, but I ended up recording two other episodes for you guys on Sunday. So I was just like, there's no way. So I am on my lunch break right now. I look like a piece of shit. So yeah, I apologize for not doing video for a while, but just deal with it, guys. My skin has been really bad. I look like death. I just want to sulk in my disgustingness and not have to worry about what I look like for the sake of video. So bear with me through all of that. We have a shorter agenda today, but I still feel like it'll be a fulsome episode. There really hasn't been that much going on in the zeitgeist this week aside from everything Taylor Frankie Paul. So I feel like any other news either got buried or just doesn't feel as important. But that being said, there is still quite a bit to talk about with regards to the three topics that we do have to talk about today. So let's basically get right into it. We'll start with the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. And I do want to start by saying that I did an episode last week called A Very Mormon Update because I felt like so much was going on in the Bachelorette slash Secret Lives of Mormon Wives sphere. I could barely keep up. Like every hour was a new news update. So I'm like, okay, I'll do an episode about it. And to be honest, I hadn't really formulated my opinion on it. We still were missing information, and we still are. But I really wasn't sure how to feel about it yet, to be honest. So that's why there was a lot of ums coming for me. And that's why maybe I seemed like I didn't have, I don't want to say the same opinion as everybody else, but why I was giving maybe Taylor Frankie Paul more grace than other people are. And now that I've had more time to think about it and there has been more news that's come out, I do want to kind of course correct because you know what, at the end of the day, something that I'm always saying is as we get more information, we're allowed to change our minds, right? So as more information has started to come out, plus the fact that I've had more of a chance to sort of sit in my thoughts about it, I have changed my thoughts. So I do want to point out, because somebody mentioned in my reviews that I should make a correction to say that Taylor Frankie Paul's 2023 arrest, I think maybe I had said in that episode that all of that was just cleared away and it's gone and done. That isn't true. She is still on probation. So there is the possibility that this current situation that she's dealing with Dakota could affect that probation. So I'm just going to back up quickly on this entire story. I'm not going to go into it in detail. I definitely did that in my episode on Friday where I've given all of the news details that happened until about noon as of Friday, but there was quite a bit after that. So you can go back and listen to that. But just in general, we found out last week that there was a domestic altercation between Dakota and Taylor, and there was physical abuse allegations that were made on both ends. Then we heard that apparently, allegedly, Taylor tried to strangle Dakota with a necklace. I believe this happened in front of their child Ever. And then the 2023 arrest video came out, or sorry, not arrest video, but the domestic violence video that happened in between filming of season 1 of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. So this was a video we had all known about, but we hadn't seen it. So now that we've seen it and had more information, people are really freaked out. And it's what's led to ABC literally pulling The Bachelorette, which has never happened in the history of The Bachelorette. This show has been on for literally decades. It's insane at this point. They tried to bring on someone new and different, obviously, to try to capitalize at least on how popular the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives have been. I mean, anyone and everyone are trying to capitalize on it, right? Like, who's watching Vanderpump Villa if not for the fact that you might want to see the mom talk girls there? Definitely don't want to see dad talk there next week, but this everything is about the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives right now. So I guess ABC thought like, hey, this is a great way to kind of regain a viewership or to gain a new viewership. And people are pissed because they're like, you knew all of this about her. You had all of this information about how violent she was, and you did nothing about it. When we watch the full video, we see that she actually did hit her child with a chair. Like, she was flinging around like stools and chairs and stuff. And if you watch the video, it is quite violent. You can watch it at tmz.com. And I did play it in terms of the audio anyway on my Friday episode. But it just goes on and on. And apparently her ex-husband Tate had not seen the video. So he's just finding out about this now too. Now, the video came to TMZ, and TMZ has confirmed that it was given to them. They did not go looking for it from law enforcement. So everyone's pretty sure it came from Dakota or Dakota's camp, meaning maybe Jordan, i.e. Jordan Nagatara or whatever his name is, Jesse's ex-husband. Now I can say ex-husband, right? But, you know, regardless of that, I'm not saying like Dakota's in the clear here, because like Dakota's a piece of shit too, right? I've actually started rewatching The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives again from the beginning yesterday, and they have been toxic from the very beginning. Like, literally, Taylor's saying that they're getting in fights constantly. And this is like from day one. He was lying to her about who he was hooking up with from day one. So they've both been like really toxic and bad for each other. But what we're learning is that this goes beyond just this 2023 incident, because listen, I guess we can say we all make mistakes. I believe we gave her grace in that regard. Again, we hadn't seen the 2023 video. We decided to glamorize this woman and make her so popular from The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and then The Bachelorette. But we decided to forgive her because she decided to become sober and change her life. But now we're hearing about this February incident, and from what we're gathering, it's a lot worse than we believe. So it's one thing to be like, okay, I'm going to make mistakes and I'm going to learn from them. I'm going to move on. We have to give people grace for that. But then if you're going to continue to make the same mistakes over and over again, and if those mistakes involve harming children, well, then we have a big problem. So after I recorded on Friday, basically what came out right afterwards was that Dakota was granted temporary custody of Taylor and his son Ever, who's 2, amid the ongoing domestic assault investigation. Now, it has to be really bad for a mom to lose custody. So that's where my opinion changed at the complete jump. I was just like, oh, that changes everything. Guys, that really changes everything. Because like I said, the police have already investigated the 2023 incident. Now we're dealing with this February incident. And while we don't have all of the information from both sides, we know what Dakota is saying. And if the police are making the decision based on obviously having heard both sides to take a child away from their mother, which is a really big deal, then she must have really, really screwed up. So now I'm really questioning whether, because people were saying from the beginning she's a really good mom, and this isn't about that. Dakota must be lying. Well, again, the police do not take children away from their mothers unless there is a good amount of evidence to show that she's done something really horrible, right? And all that matters here at the end of the day are these kids. So that's what's really concerning. And then there's this guy that came forward who I guess is Dakota's friend, to my understanding. So his name on Instagram is, what does this say? Cretan spaghetti. Cretan spaghetti. Anyways, it just says, also, just to clarify, I nor Dakota released that video. We were just as shocked when we saw that TMZ post. And how the hell can we time Taylor deciding to beat him up 2 nights in a row on February 23rd, 24th? And keep in mind, because this was a bigger case, and probation involved, the cops didn't do stuff right away and due diligence. There was absolutely no strategic timing other than Taylor deciding to attack him bad enough to provoke it. And this whole reactive abuse term, because a lot of people are saying, like, okay, like the ones who are siding with Taylor are saying any abuse that she is projecting onto Dakota, we have to think about the fact that there's the possibility that he's been abusing her first, because that is a statement that she made in regards to her statement for this whole thing. She said that she's been dealing silently with physical and emotional abuse for years, and eventually she's going to talk about it. So this post says, and this whole reactive abuse term is wildly incompetent. You're trying to dismiss assault before you thrive off of her own drama for your entertainment. Just stop. The reactive is her bringing up, why'd you hook up with star. I think it's supposed to be Shania while I was gone filming The Bachelorette after I told you not to while I go on dates with 24 dudes. How can y'all now piece this together? No, I'm sure this came from Dakota's camp. Like, there's no one else that this could have come from. My friend, Nat, you should follow her on Instagram and TikTok. She did a really good video about this, explaining that basically, without me going into all the details, because she did this in a really comprehensive way, so go check it out. But basically, there is no way that it wasn't Dakota, just with regards to how the laws work and regards to being able to access that information. It just kind of had to be Dakota. So some of the cast have also reacted since the last time I recorded. So Miranda from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Miranda Hope, McWhorter, whatever, she said, domestic violence and abuse of any kind is something I take very seriously. As a human, and especially a mother, I cannot support that kind of behavior. And then I believe that Layla said something as well. She said, I stand firmly against domestic violence in any form. I am keeping her children in my thoughts, hoping for their safety above all else. And so to hear like so many people go in the opposite direction, it's really interesting. And then I believe that Layla said something more about this. So this was Jace. So Jace is Michaela's husband. This was a DM exchange that he was having with a content creator. Basically, he said to this content creator, like in the DMs, I don't support anyone who physically abuses their children. I don't give a fuck who it is or why, and neither should you. And the content creator said, I agree. No one ever should support child abuse ever. The video today is horrendous from 2023, but you all stayed friends with her from then until today. So please help me understand. Was there current child abuse? Both of them need deep therapy. And then Jay said, there's loads more we just found out. Never stopped. And so that's the thing. Okay. So I think some more stuff has come out. A lot of the cast is really, truly implying that there is physical abuse that they have found out about. So this is the really concerning part. Let me see if I have any more on this part. But with regards to The Bachelorette, this is something from Dumois with regards to whether The Bachelorette will survive this, because a lot of people are questioning whether this is the end of the day for The Bachelorette, because like I said, it was already a dying franchise. This was their way to try to revive it. They lost at least $100 million in this endeavor. It's embarrassing. It's stupid. It's so many things. And like, what's going to come of it? So this is from Dumois. The message says, someone wrote this to Dumois. It says, per the other email that said ABC could potentially sue Taylor Frankie Paul, it's the opposite. She is allegedly lawyering up after ABC/Disney blamed that resurfaced video from her 2023 incident, which she already pled guilty to, for canceling her Bachelorette season, even though they already knew about it when they cast her. From what I'm hearing, there's nothing in that video that isn't already in the public arrest records and her conviction, so it's it's kind of hard to argue that this was some kind of new information. It sounds more like the video just gave them an easy out. The real issue is that her season just wasn't good and everyone knew it. She didn't have much chemistry with the guys. The whole storyline about her being away from her kids in Utah wasn't landing well. And then she picked someone she broke up with less than a month later before going back to Dakota Mortensen. So the After the Final Rose was shaping up to be a mess with no real audience investment. I'm told she's already allegedly talking to attorneys, and while there's already a morality clause in her contract, morality clause, it usually applies to behavior after signing. The latest case is still open, no charges yet. Or something from the past that wasn't disclosed, neither of which really applies here since ABC knew about the 2023 situation and cast her anyway. That said, even if she does move forward, she's probably not going to win, but also doesn't need to worry about them coming after her for money either, since she didn't violate her contract and they knew exactly what they were signing up for. I mean, I still doubt that they pulled it for the sake of like, oh, it was boring. Like, that doesn't make sense, just given all the money that goes into it. But I did hear that some of the guys, like the Bachelorette men, want to sue because a lot of them like quit their jobs and stuff in order to do this, hoping they'd become influencers or get some sort of recognition. But like, that's like so ridiculous. Like, what if you were sent home night one? And like, it's not a promise of fame. It's the chance of it. If you quit your job, that's on you. That's like absolutely ridiculous. Um, Also, in Secret Lives of Mormon Wives news, we did hear Layla talk a lot about her eating disorder on season 4. She said that she was taking GLP-1s, which is absolutely wild to me, given how incredibly skinny she is. I mean, we don't talk about people's bodies, right? But like, did I notice how skinny she was? Of course. But until she says that she has a problem or until she wants to talk about it, what can people do? So I appreciate that she did bring this up during the season, and then she tried to get treatment and tried to get help. So she did post something on Instagram about this, and she said that for the past 2 years, I've been struggling silently with an eating disorder. I believed I had left behind in high school. Far before I touched GLP-1s, I had my struggles. It's been lonely and exhausting. Fighting a battle in my own brain while trying to show up like everybody else, like everything is okay, and receive comments daily on my body. Recovery has been messy and far from linear. Some days feel strong and others feel heavy. I'm still in treatment and no longer on the medication. I'm still learning how to choose self-love over self-criticism. Even this video, seeing my body side by side, is triggering. But I'm still fighting, not just for me, but for my boys deserving a healthy, present mom. So grateful for those in my life that have helped me through that low time. Thank you for your kindness, grace, and support. It means more than you know. So it was something really interesting that she talked about during season 4 was how in Utah, and especially where she lives, and especially in the industry that she wants to be in, right? She wants to be a model. How you look is so, so important. So it makes sense how she got here. But it's wild to me that people as skinny as her or Brooks Nader, people like that, were taking GLP-1s. I mean, I was taking it because I was like, according to BMI, like morbidly obese. So, it's a whole different thing. So there's people that are taking it who need it, and then there's people who are abusing it, right? And it's just really unfortunate that it ends up being abused in that way, because it's obviously not meant for somebody as skinny as Layla. It also makes sense that she ended up in this position because it just seems like she didn't have a lot of people in her life. Again, I'm going back and watching from the beginning. She's talking about getting a tattoo for her sister that she's not close with. It really feels like she was just floating through life, and that's how she ended up within Mormonism and stuff. And so, and I can completely relate to her. I don't have the same struggles exactly that hers were. Mine was binge eating disorder. It took me my entire life to end up being comfortable enough with my body. Oh, and you guys will die at the thought of this. So when I was talking to my doctor last week about the possibility of changing antidepressants, because I feel like mine aren't really working anymore, I said, I've struggled throughout my whole life to find ones that work for me or ones that I'm able to take because of the side effects. So the majority of SSRIs cause weight gain, which was just something that I absolutely could not fathom given my eating disorder, right? Like, I obviously want to work on my mental health, but at the end of the day, I was so obsessed with my body and my weight that I couldn't even fathom the thought that I could gain weight. So I absolutely refused to take any antidepressant that could cause weight gain. But when I was talking to my doctor the other day, I said, I'm more open now because I don't really care about weight gain. So there's more options for me. And she's like, oh, okay, great. And that's such a wild thing for me to say. So I just wanted to say it out loud because to be like, you know what? I'm more open to a lot more medications that cause weight gain because I really don't care. And yeah, it did take me almost a lifetime to get there, but I'm also in a different place than Layla is. Like, I'm not in the modeling industry. I'm not on TV. I don't have people picking apart my body, right? And even if I did, I wouldn't care because it's just, again, not part of my thing. But, I appreciate that she's being open about it because she can relate to so many people, or so many people can relate to what she's going through. So many women have been through this, men as well. And I just, I appreciate that these women who have these huge platforms come forward with their stories because at the end of the day, it does really, really help people. And a little bit of Jessi news. So obviously we know, as I told you guys last week, Jessi and Jordan are getting a divorce. There was this submission to Dumois last week that says, re Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Jessi told Jordan last Friday that she was done and already had a lawyer on board. She also pre-booked to call her daddy to tell her side of everything. Then Jordan rushed to file today, clearly trying to get ahead of it, and added some loser clause about her not being allowed to talk about him on podcasts. The problem for Jordan is that Jessi didn't sign anything yet, and she's way too savvy for that. She basically left it off like, nice try. Podcast films tomorrow. Jordan's been involved in some pretty shady behavior for years, including allegedly spending money on escorts and parties with her money. Okay, so this is interesting because last week when we heard that he filed for divorce, I was like, oh, wait, really? Because again, for those of us who watched The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives season 4, it really seemed like the entire season was Jessi preparing to divorce him, literally down to the paperwork, to the name, and everything. But I guess this kind of shows us that she was going to do it. He just tried to like beat her to it. But yeah, it's so funny. All of these, I was going to call him a Bravo man. All of these reality TV men, their first thing is like, don't talk about me in the media, right? This is so like Michael Darby and people like that. It's like, sorry, sir, let her have her time. I'll listen to her on Call Her Daddy. But in other Jessi news, Jessi and Marciano have started following each other again on Instagram. So whatever, man. I am here for it. That is so funny. If they end up together, like, how wild would that be? Wouldn't that be crazy, you guys? I just can't. Like, I literally just can't. Okay, let's move on to Love Island. So, as you recall, Huda Mustafa is dating Louis Russell. So he was previously on Perfect Match. He was kind of dating Sandy on that show. And then as that show was coming to an end, he and Huda made their red carpet debut before the outcome of the show even ended. So I guess they know each other through the reality TV sphere. Huda was a contentious character on Love Island, but she kind of made it super far. But after she left Love Island, she's had a bunch of controversies, especially regarding like racialized stuff that she's done on Instagram that has led to her losing a lot of her brand deals, including Huda Beauty. So then we got this big like press release from TMZ that allegedly Huda was threatening Louis's son's baby mama. So we didn't even know that Louis had a son until like, I don't know, a few months ago. It was wild. Like we always knew that Huda had a kid because that was like her line, like, I'm a mommy, right? So we knew that about her. But like Louis has been on like a plethora of reality TV shows and then it never came up. And then like a few months ago, he just like makes this announcement like, oh, I'm a dad. So I got this article from People that I'm going to read about what's going on here because it's funny given that the past week has been like so back and forth when it comes to The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and there's been new news announcements every 2 seconds about it. I feel like the same thing happened with this Love Island story. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wait until it all comes out in one article, and I'm going to just kind of read you guys the gist of what's going on. So this is from People, and it says, Love Island USA star Huda Mustafa's boyfriend Louis Russell claims ex is blocking him from seeing their son, court docs. It says, Love Island USA star Huda Mustafa's boyfriend Louis Russell is claiming that his ex, Nicole Oliveira, is blocking him from seeing their son. According to a declaration obtained by People, the too hot to handle alum, 25, is accusing his ex-girlfriend Olivera of unreasonably cutting off all contact between him and their 1-year-old son, Luca Kai. The reality TV alum claimed Olivera was using Luca Kai as a bargaining chip and threatened to move herself and their son out of state. I don't even know. Like, didn't this guy live in the UK? Like, how does he have a whole ass kid in the US? Anyways, and then it says, I am seriously concerned that she will make good on this threat before she is served, Russell wrote in the documents. I fear that she will move Luca, and I will have a hard time finding our son and being a part of his life. Russell claimed that Olivera has done this before. He further alleged that she threatened to move and did so when we were in the UK. He then filed for an emergency court order to obtain joint legal custody, as well as a parenting and custody plan that would give him time with his son. Oh, okay. I guess, yeah, they had a kid there together and then came here. All right. On Wednesday, March 18th, Russell shared a photo of himself and his son on his Instagram stories. All I've ever wanted is to be a good dad. That's who I am, and that's who I'll always be, he wrote over the photo. Earlier this week, news broke that Olivera had filed a restraining order against Mustafa, alleging that she was making threats against them. The temporary order requiring Mustafa to temporarily stay away from both Olivera and Luca Kai. In the documents, Olivera claimed that Mustafa flew to North Carolina to Los Angeles and threatened to jump off buildings, swearing on her daughter's life that she was going to kill herself. She alleged that Mustafa spent about 12 hours making terrifying and extremely mentally unstable threats against the lives of herself, her 5-year-old daughter, Arlie, and Olivera and Russell's son, Luca Kai. According to the documents, Mustafa then allegedly took an Uber to Olivera's house on February 21st at 1:30 a.m. and broke into the building while threatening to knock down our doors. Olivera, Russell, and their son were all home at the time. A judge granted Olivera a temporary restraining order, which requires Mustafa to stay at least 100 yards away from Olivera and her son until the case is heard in court on April 3rd. In response to the allegations, Mustafa shared a statement on her Instagram stories that said, I'm aware of what's being said and it's not true, she wrote. I'm handling everything the right way by letting legal take care of it. I appreciate everyone who continues to support me. There was also some like text that came out. These are between the baby mama and Huda. It's hard to know who's saying who. Okay, I think this is Huda saying, I'm always honest. I'm sorry I lied about what I lied about, but I was always honest. Bye, my sweet, handsome man. Your beautiful girl loves you more than anyone you'll ever know. You're not with Ollie. I don't even know what this is. It's hard to, you're not with Ollie. He's not in town. Who is Ollie? Sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure out who this is or what's being said. It says, I'm in the apartment. Okay, there's like a picture of like a stairwell, an empty stairwell, and it says, I'm in the apartment, so either you see me or I'm knocking at every door. I know the area you said the apartment was. How could you do this? It's 1:30 a.m. and you expect me to believe you're not with a bitch. You never don't answer this much. You're taking it too far. You're making me go crazy. Is this satisfying to you? I'm not leaving until I see you. You don't love me. You never did. That's why it's so easy for you to leave. I always stayed through everything and you would blow up my phone and threaten me and hurt me and I'd still be here. This is torture. You're doing this to me. I never once did this to you. You tell me you want me to die and this is driving me to that point. I promise you and my daughter I won't be here tomorrow if I don't see you. You're destroying me and if you don't care at all, not an ounce of you cares. You don't care if I live or die. You're already in someone else. You're already in someone else. Ew. I'm here. Where are you? And there's like a picture of a front of a building. I'm at her house. Where are you? I'm standing here until you come out. I'm not leaving. You answer everyone but me. You answer everyone but me. Yeah. And you believe you love me. You don't love me. You don't care about my well-being or love me. You never did. Okay. Yeah. I believe that's why she got the restraining order. So that's what makes sense right here. So when I was saying that she took an Uber to Olivera's house, these are obviously the texts that she's sending to Louis. Louis, or is it Louis? I think it's Louis. While he's inside with his son and his baby mama, and she's outside doing this crazy shit. It's very wild to me that Huda has gotten the level of fame that she's been able to get. And it's very interesting because a lot of people are doing a comparison between her and Taylor Frankie Paul and all that's going on, right? And it sort of makes us question ourselves. It makes us question like, hey, is it us that is really into this kind of chaos? Are we the ones to blame for really wanting to see this and see these people blow up? Because really, again, if you think about the Taylor Frankie Paul thing at the end of the day, we knew most of this stuff about her. None of this was that new to us. We didn't know the extent of the 2023 video, but we still kind of glamorized this person for having this like scandal, this swinging scandal, and all of this, right? And we were willing to forgive her other transgressions because we were sort of interested in her chaos. And same with Huda, right? I mean, she's been a chaos agent since the moment that we met her. The whole thing with Jeremiah, the way that she talked, how incredibly bad she treated everybody on Love Island, all of the controversies that she's had ever since she left Love Island, right? Like, to have gotten as far as she did on that show gets you the kinds of brand deals and the kinds of money that no one could ever, or that people dream of, right? Is basically what I'm trying to say. And then for her to just like ruin it, like it's very Lindsay Lohan, if you think about it, right? Did I use this to describe somebody else the other day? I feel like I did. I feel like there's a number of reality stars that get so lost in the sauce that it just really doesn't go in their favor because they just end up going down a bad rabbit hole. And I'm not saying that in this case it's a like a drug issue. I don't think that it is. I just think she has like a I think she needs therapy. I just think she needs therapy. She doesn't deal with her anger well. We know this, and we've seen this. And I believe that that has led to major issues for her. And like I said, for her to have gotten all of the opportunities that she's gotten from Love Island to only ruin it is really just to her detriment. So I really hope that after all of this, she goes to therapy, but I'm very curious as well to see what's going on here. And I think that a lot of people are really interested in picking this up or in talking more about this because there wasn't really a lot else that was going on this week aside from Taylor Frankie Paul. It really was like the Taylor Frankie Paul week. Oh, I found like some more text messages. So again, these are just like more messages that she's sending to, I guess, Lewis, where it's like a picture of a map and it says, "You believe me? Here's proof," I guess, that she's there, like where he is. It says, "What are you doing? Are you cheating on me? Are you cheating on me? You're cheating on me." I remember where you told me her window was. And then the response is, "You need to seek help, Huda. You need to go into a hospital. Just go back to your room and I don't know, I'll talk to you tomorrow," I think is what it's trying to say. And then she writes back, "I'm not safe for point. I'm not in a safe place, Lewis." Okay, so these are messages to Lewis. "Am I even allowed to tell you these things? Do you care? I'm just going to lay here. I'm not at the hotel, by the way. Don't know if you care about that. I'm going to your baby mom's house. I'm in the Uber now. I'm about to be at Nick's. Why are you not answering?" Right. So she's taking these very dramatic steps to get his attention. There's a child there, so it's absolutely not okay that she's sending these insane texts, especially from like within the stairwell. That's crazy ass shit. So of course they got a restraining order, right? Like, I don't know what this means for Lewis and Huda's relationship. I hope they're over, but in Dakota and Taylor fashion, they could very well get back together. Lots of people love this chaotic kind of shit relationship, so like, who even knows? But yeah, I anticipated stuff like this to go on with Huda just because she's always just been like this chaos agent. So she's gonna ruin all of this for herself. Okay, last topic of the day is the Real Housewives of Miami. So we just got word last week from Kate Arthur over at Variety that Bravo was putting pause on the Real Housewives of Miami amid low ratings. So after weeks of worried murmurs in the Bravo sphere about the status of the Real Housewives of Miami, a source confirms to Variety that Bravo has indeed hit pause on the show, which concluded its seventh season in October. The show, though beloved among devoted Bravo fans, is the least watched entry among the network's The Real Housewives series. So that's just so disappointing to hear because, I mean, the Haitian mortician of it all, like, are you kidding me? The show is so silly. I mean, there are so many amazing things about the show. So first, let's just talk about, I mean, this idea as an entity of the low ratings, right? Can you seriously tell me that the new Vanderpump Rules, which has been renewed for a season 2, had better ratings than the Real Housewives of Miami? That just can't be. No one is watching that. I didn't even finish that. So that just seems wild to me. It also, it feels like there aren't a lot of really good housewife shows out there right now. We have The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, which I know is never going to go anywhere because it's sort of like one of the oldest ones, one of the most quintessential ones, but it's boring, right? We've even had like really boring seasons of The Real Housewives of OC. But like something I really love about The Real Housewives of Miami is that you've had the same core cast for almost the entirety of it. They have that same Delulu element that The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City have. We also get the cultural aspect because we're set in Miami. So we have people from many different kinds of heritage. So it's just so unfortunate for us to be losing this show. That being said, I do remember when I was recapping, I was struggling to recap it. Like I didn't struggle to watch it. I guess I just struggled to recap it. Maybe because it was so silly, so it just kind of felt like there's no point, or I don't know, I'm not taking it as seriously, but it is just a pause. So I hope everyone takes that for what it is, because think about it. At the end of the day, The Real Housewives of Miami existed for 3 seasons, took like a 4-year pause, and then came back, right? So it's very possible that it will. And even Lisa Hochstein and and Andy said that, this is just a pause. This isn't the end of the show. We're just trying to figure things out. And think about how long we've been technically paused on New Jersey without people calling it a pause, right? So this is just like an announcement of something as opposed to maybe just leaving us hanging while we've been hanging with other shows that have technically been paused. I mean, even New York, right? Like that is going to happen now, but it's been like 2 years, right? So instead of leaving us hanging, they're just telling us it's on pause. That's what I'm hoping for because it really is such a funny show. The Haitian mortician of it all was just like the best. The fact that someone dressed up as that for Halloween absolutely gave me life. I was obsessed when I saw that. So I don't know, you guys. Like, I really hope that they do bring it back. There are so many Bravo shows that I really enjoyed, like Summer House Martha's Vineyard that they ended up getting rid of. What was that one that they did that was almost like Emily in Paris? What's the name of that show? It was called like Real Girlfriends in Paris or something like that. I really like that one too. It's just hard to get people interested in this stuff. And maybe that's our job as podcasters to get you guys interested in the shows that you aren't really interested in. So I vow, I guess, right here, right now, that if you do bring Miami back, I will promote it. I will talk about it. I will do everything in my power to get you guys into it. And you have my word going forward. Okay, you guys, that is the end of the episode today. I hope that you enjoyed it. You can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and Threads at The Bravo Investigator. You can join the Patreon at patreon.com/The Bravo Investigator podcast, where right now I am covering Southern Hospitality Season 4, which is absolutely one of my favorite shows out there. You guys can subscribe to my YouTube, and it's linked in the show notes. Today's episode, as I mentioned earlier, is audio only, but you can watch the audio versions over there as well. And there's a Facebook group, which is also linked in the show notes, and you can join through there as well. I love you, BBs. I will see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Bravo Investigator podcast. For more content, head over to patreon.com/The Bravo Investigator podcast. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at The Bravo Investigator. If you enjoyed the show, leave a 5-star review. Love you, BBs. See you next time.